Hi. If I want to excel at basketball, I need to break down each moment and each movement and practice it and repeat it incessantly. At Homework Hoops, we try to eliminate the ball and the basket because often they're our worst enemy. They're our biggest distraction. As I shoot the ball, the fact that I want it to go in makes me forget technique. So we come up with Homework Hoops. Stuff we do without a ball and often without a basket that can make us better. We also like to use tools in order to hone our skills. Some of the skills and tools that we do, we'll be practicing today, and we'll show you some tips on how to get better without a ball or without a basket. So we're going to eliminate distractions, we're going to eliminate the ball, and we're not using a hoop right now. We're going to focus on the tools that we're using. These are tools that help us to become much better. This is resistance training. It's going to help for my explosive stuff as I want to go by and blow by defense. If I can do a lot of training against resistance, when I don't have this band holding me back, I'm blowing by my defense. If I'm being closely defended and pressured, I want to make sure that I have a series of breakdown moves. That involves triple threat, jab fake, jab steps, and rips. If I practice with the heavy ball, then I'm going to be twice as good when I use a normal ball. Miniature hurdles. We use these things for exceptional footwork drills. I want to speed up my footwork. It's going to be useful on offense, it's going to be useful on defense. Mini hurdles. If I want to be a bang down shooter, an ace at shooting, I need to stick my landings. So landing in the hula hoop every time I shoot is going to help me to stick my landings and help me become an ace shooter. Other equipment that can help me with shooting, I put an X on the floor with tape, and I can do exactly the same thing I was doing with a hula hoop. One of my favorites is using the bottle cap. The bottle cap's great for my ball handling drills. I want to be aware that if I'm going to be a great ball handler and break down defense consistently, be able to pass, I need to use my finger pads as the major control contacts on the ball. So finger pad contact on the ball is going to lead to excellent basketball results. The bottle cap with the saran wrapped, keeping it in place in the middle of my palm. Every time the ball hits that, I'm aware that I didn't have the finger pad control that I needed for superior basketball. The glove, another ball handling trick. I use the glove and I don't feel the ball as well, so that when I'm in game situations and I don't have a glove, I'm ready to get stuff done. Finally, we have a chair. If I want to practice triple threat breakdown stuff, having a chair to go by is always something that's going to help me. And I'm pretty sure behind me, there are guys working on chairs right now. So these are some of the equipment that we can use in Homework Hoops. Tools of the trade that'll make us better. Not always using a basketball, not always using a basket. We were talking earlier about Homework Hoops and using all the tools and the equipment we showed earlier. Here's our mini hurdles, and this stuff is great for working foot speed. Foot speed's essential to defensive success, also essential to offensive success. So we want to be on top of this drill as often as we can. It can also be loaded, and by loaded, we mean we make the drill a little harder by adding a basketball. So Michael is working on his basketball skills as well as moving his feet. Great stuff for superior basketball. One of my favorite drills for elite level ball handling, resistance ball handling training. Tapan is doing all the work in this situation. He's facing resistance, and Ben is doing some crab dribbling. These are both essential ball handling moves. It allows us to really work on our conditioning, our explosive stuff, as well as our vision. The crab dribbling is essential to all situations where I'm gonna have to run an offense, protect the ball, and be stationary. So two great drills that we can use in homework hoops. Let's go, Charlotte. You're the next. I'm a defender. Get closer, because this is the stuff that makes us uncomfortable. And this happens in games all the time. Now, if you're like this, I'm gonna take the ball. So you have to protect the ball, which means that we're gonna have our wrist ready to shoot, right? You guys, let's all come in here and check this out, because this is important. We're pretending I'm playing defense, and triple threat is huge. We want our hand to be in a position where we could execute a shot. Now, if we don't have that wrist ready, can I have the ball? If the wrist is like this, then in order for me to shoot, I have to bring it to this. When I decide to do this is in question, but if I already have it, then I don't have to worry about when I'm gonna flip my wrist around. Every extra little movement is possibly something that the defense will take advantage of if it's not designed for me to get an advantage offensively. So you're in good triple threat, but we don't want the ball there. We want it here, away from me. Now, if I reach forward for the ball, you bring it behind your back while you step forward into me, and then I'm gonna move my face because I'm gonna get smacked. Understand? If I'm going forward and you go forward, then we're gonna collide, and mostly that elbow or that shoulder is gonna hit my face. Not good for me, good for you though, right? That's why we're back in our original triple threat position. If I move over, because you jabbed, then the ball does not come up here. It goes below your knee, across my knee, without moving that foot, and then transferred to the left hand, and you go by me with the left hand dribble. Okay? So, it should look like this is triple threat. I can jab, and if the defense does not react, I extend my jab, and then I look to protect the ball on the way to the basket. There are several different protections. So I need to be able to protect it like this. I need to be able to protect it on my hip. I need to be able to protect it on the other hip. I need to be able to sweep it low below defensive hands. All of those things I need to be able to do comfortably at a high rate of speed. So let's get back in our drill and let's get on it. Essential to our basketball success is that we learn to protect the ball on the way to the basket. Defense is going to slap at the ball. Defense is going to try to take it. If I'm going to be an efficient offensive player, then I will learn to protect the ball, keep it away from the defensive side, and still be able to finish at the basket. Stuff we're trying to do here in our homework hoops. Remember, we're dribbling back with our left hand. If we're left-handed, we dribble back with our right hand. And it's not enough to dribble back. We got to do something with the ball. Let's make sure that we're on top of that. Bend your knees and get the ball going. Hard and fast. Keep your ball handling with your eyes up and your knees bent. And it's really important that when we try to protect the ball, we actually have it protected. So that means I do not have it here at my waist, but I have it well protected, either on the side, or my arms wrapping it up. Great stuff for being a superior offensive player. That was so much better. That's perfect, right? Stay low until you're into your shot. Okay, guys, we're gonna complicate this a little. I'm gonna be on this side, and I'm gonna shuffle with you. If you present the ball, I'm gonna take it from you, okay? All right, here we go. Nice job, go get it, dribble back with your left hand. Good job. That's fantastic. I expect not to see mistakes here. Yes, that's good. Yes, that's good.
Hi, I'm Bronwyn, and today I learned different ways to protect the ball and defensively that you should never give up all the way to the end of the game to the last second.
Happy to have John House from Belmont Bruins and former Shake True Hoops alum. He's going to talk about moving without the ball. John?
Thanks, Shake. We're talking about using your body on offense and moving without the basketball. So it's good to be fast, right? We all want to be fast. Faster you are, maybe the more advantage you have on the court. Would you say that's pretty correct? And you know, I was always relatively fast, especially for my size, but it took me a long time to really understand that being in control and knowing how to use your body is much more important than being fast. And you know, come to think of it, I had the opportunity to watch Shaker, you know, when he was playing in men's league and everything back when I was growing up. And he was one of the best players I ever saw at using his body. Now this is when, you know, he was probably past his prime in terms of his age and quickness, but he was always very, very aware of his body and where it was relative to defenders on the court. And pay close attention when you watch NBA games, which I'm sure many of you do, is you'll find that a lot of guards and great wing players aren't always going full speed. They're changing pace and they're using their body to manipulate the defense. So can I get maybe a couple, two volunteers just to stand up? Sure, you guys come on over here. So again, you don't need to be lightning fast to get an advantage on a defender. So let me get one more person. Yep. Okay, so the guys in the white pennies, you guys are on defense, we're on offense, okay? So this is just an easy example. I'm not gonna use any speed to get an advantage on my defender. So let's say I can shoot the ball so you're covering me pretty quickly. Can you set a screen for me here? We're gonna do an old-fashioned pick and roll. So if I come off the screen, maybe what your defensive strategy is you're gonna trail me, right? And maybe you're giving a little bit of help. So right now, I have an advantage on my defender, okay? I don't need to run and sprint away from him. That's gonna make me out of control. I'm likely to travel. I'm likely to turn the ball over. I'm likely to dribble the ball off of my foot and out of bounds, and that's embarrassing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slow up and change my pace. So my buddy here, you're a sharpshooter, right? So as he's fading out to the perimeter, this defender's aware of him. So you might retreat back, and now I'm dribbling into my defender because I want to take the advantage towards the basket, and he's trying to get in front of me. But if I use my body correctly, there's nowhere for him to go, and I can protect the ball with my left hand, right? So I can go as slow as I want, read the defense, see the open man, see the basket, and maybe I have a layup. Maybe you help, and I can pass it back to my buddy, okay? So that's what I want you to really understand, and this works in all different scenarios. The other one I see all the time, if I could get the ball back, is on the fast break. So if I'm catching the rebound and I get an outlet pass and maybe my defender is side by side with me, instead of trying to sprint on a straight line, what I'll do is I'll dribble into my defender, right? I'll use my body. Oftentimes he'll get a blocking foul, or I could just stay in front of him and then make a play towards the basket. So you don't, the message here is it's not always about going full speed. When you go full speed, you dribble the ball off your foot, you make turnovers, you make bad decisions. Be aware of where your body is. You don't need to be strong to use your body. You just need to be aware of where it is relative to your defender and the other defenders on the court. When you're practicing, you need to practice on, basically the tip of being out of control. The faster you practice, the faster you can adapt your skills to different speeds, right? So you always practice full speed, maybe a little bit beyond your comfort level, and that will drastically improve your skills. And then when you're in the game will almost feel like it's slowing down to you. Things are moving slower than at the level at which you practice, and that means you'll be way more under control than perhaps when you practice. So, like Shake said, practice full speed, bursts of energy, almost out of control. You should be losing the balls. If you're doing ball handling drills with Shaker, you should be losing the ball because you're going beyond what your comfort level is. So if you're comfortable in practice, it probably means you're not practicing hard enough. When you're in the game, you play under control and within yourself, and when you're in practice, you practice full speed. So one thing I'll talk about with moving without the basketball is spacing. Okay, so spacing is crucial in offense. The older you get, the bigger, the taller you and your teammates will get. When we're 6, 7 years old, the court is huge. When we're 25 years old and we're 6'6", and I'm playing with guys who are size 7 feet with 18 shoe, the court becomes a little smaller, a little more congested, right? So spatial awareness is essential, and it's important to know especially where the ball is and where you should move relative to the ball handler to create space. So if the ball is here on the left wing, right? Now, buddy, my teammate, you're going to the far wing, so you're parallel there with me. Depending on where I move, you might want to move accordingly, right? If I'm driving baseline and trying to cut towards the basket, let me squeeze by you here. The best thing for you to do is just like you did, that's perfect. So you want to create a passing lane, and on the baseline is perfect for this. If you stayed up there, this is all congestion. I can't throw through the key. There's probably 5 bodies here. But if I'm running out of space, I might be able to find you over there. So as I move baseline, you want to readjust your position accordingly. Now, if I'm up here and you're over here beside me, instead of going baseline, just go over there a little further. Maybe I move to the middle. Your defender's here, so the best thing for you to do as I'm driving is probably push back, right? So push towards the side. Now your defender has to make a choice whether to double team me, which leaves you open, or if he doesn't double team you, then I might have a lane to get into the middle of the court and make a play happen from here. So be very aware. The last thing you want to do is run into the ball handler. That creates congestion, confusion. It doesn't look good, right? So just be aware of where the ball handler is and where to move appropriately. You want to make yourself accessible for if your teammate ever gets in a bind, you want to be open for the pass. When you're open for the pass, you get the ball, you can make shots, you score points. We all like that, right? Any questions on moving without the ball? Now sometimes you can get a little fancy. Maybe you see my guy there. If you have a teammate over there, you might want to even run behind me if there's enough space. And then, we do something like that, right? Maybe you knock down the shot. So just be aware. We want spacing. Cutting without the basketball is always good. So, if shooting isn't your strong point, as I'm driving and I attract your defender's attention, you might want to cut, right? You might want to cut to the basket. Maybe I find you, maybe somebody else helps, and that opens up a shot for your teammate. So the most important thing is be aware, think about spacing. The more spacing, the more open you'll be for shots and baskets.
Excellent. So we want to get into some action. How about we do a couple of drills that help us with that? So we're going to partner up and we'll put a couple of drills together. So an example would be, here, let me have that ball. And you're my partner. I dribble out to the perimeter, you're out on the wing. I decide to go over here, you're fading to the corner. I pass you the ball. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, let's do it again for the other option. I dribble out here, you go out to the wing. I dribble right at you, you go back door. I'm sure I forgot something that John can add.
No, that's great. That's great.
Is that good?
From the top of the key, that's perfect.
One more thing that could happen, and maybe John and myself will do this one. We start in the middle of the key. I dribble out. I dribble at him. Instead of going back door, he goes and executes a handoff. I dribble out here. He goes to the wing. I'm going right at him. Handoff. Maybe some options for a finish. As I watch you do the drill, this is one of the things that kids have a tough time doing, and I think it's probably the easiest thing for them to do, because we learned to do this when we were 1, 2, 3, and 4. Call for the ball. Now, if you're young, it's unlikely, can I have that ball? It's unlikely that we develop ball handling skills with our head up, which means at that point, I can pass the ball if my head is up. But if I'm playing in a game with kids that are 8, 9, 10, often the head is gonna be down, so the person moving well without the ball is unseen. If they're unseen, that's not gonna do much for their scoring ability if they can't catch the ball. So it's important for each partner to call for the ball, not only call for it, but give a great target. Some coaches are gonna say if you call for the ball, it alerts the defense and it leads to turnovers. This is true. But the turnover is caused by a bad passer or someone making a bad decision. That's the offensive end. So this is not an acceptable excuse for me to stop people from calling for the ball. If I'm the passer, he calls for the ball, he's open, I need to get him the ball. If I get it late, then it's my fault. So really, let's get in the habit of calling for the ball and giving a great target, because it makes it easier for passers who have their head down. Let's continue for another few reps and we'll get into something else. This is our tip for the day in moving without the ball for this drill. If I'm a guy, Aiden is my partner, as I dribble out, he doesn't follow me, he goes away from me. So I'm going out here, he goes to the wing. Some of us made the mistake of following the ball, then it becomes hard and we don't have good spacing. In this case, I go right at him, he's going for the back door, I make sure I follow for a rebound, secure the ball and chin it. I'm Steve Cuevas of Homework Hoops. Remember,
Are you as good as you can be?
see you next time.
I was born from the bottom, but raised to the top. I was born